Filming? Is this live? Hey everybody, how are you? Back for a little bit of an update. A bunch of people asked for one. Not that I wasn't going to do one anyway, but I felt compelled to do it now. So here we are. But before I do that, I want to say thank you so much to so many people that responded. I was honestly overwhelmed by the texts and the emails and the phone calls and comments on YouTube. It's just I, I was truly touched, and thank you so much for that. I really appreciate it. And my family, I neglected to mention this last time, my last video. I mean, Diane's been awesome. She came to the hospital as soon as she could, right after she heard, and she's been with me every step of the way with all the dressings, which at the beginning, as you can imagine, were not very pleasant and nice. And she's been so helpful throughout this whole thing. My boys, they're always checking in on me, calling, dropping in when they can, texting, all that kind of stuff. You okay? That kind of thing. My nieces, nephews, my sisters, my grandkids, everybody. It's been awesome. So thanks to everybody for that. You never know when you throw something out like this what it's going to be, but it's been nothing short of spectacular, honestly. So thanks again. A couple of questions that I had from last time that I want to address. They said I didn't address why I was only drinking tea. Well, had me on antibiotics, and I read that if you combine alcohol and antibiotics, it doesn't really do any harm, but it may negate the strength of the ability of the antibiotic to fight any infection. And I did not want any infection in this thing, so I'm off of that altogether. And besides, if I had a couple of drinks or something like that, and I bang my finger, it's like right through the roof. So the other was what can't you do? Funny things. I haven't learned how to hold a fork yet properly. Diane was cutting my meat for me for the first few days. So, like, how old are you? I can't read the paper when I'm sitting up unless it's on a table. Like I still get 2 newspapers delivered to my door, and I read them in the morning, and I can't sit in a chair and read them, so I couldn't do because I couldn't hold the pages. Shirts. I always put my right arm in first, and now I'm going to put my left arm in first and gingerly pull the other one through. I couldn't do the buttons up for the longest time. In jeans, it took me a week to wear a pair of jeans because I couldn't get the button done up at the top. So, and if I ever did get it undone, I certainly couldn't get it undone. So I was in sweats for a while. I mean, nothing wrong with sweats, but it's not typically what I wear. So I think that was about it for the questions. Some of the jokes that came out, obviously, the day after, the day of my birthday, actually, it was just going to be Diane and I for dinner. So she's at work, and she said, like, I don't know what to make David for his dinner. He's had this thing, and whatever. And his boss looked at her, or her boss looked at her and said, well, you could always serve him finger food. So that was pretty good, I thought. And then the next night, the day after my birthday, Josh and his family came over, and the girls were here, and Diane and I. And we had a mixed grill. I love mixed grill. So Diane went and bought a bunch of meat. Josh cooked it all up. And of course, Diane bought fingerling potatoes for the potatoes. So that was good. And then Greg at work, actually, he saw the video and texted me and said, you should have just told everybody it was a really bad paper cut. So I thought that was pretty good too. Now for the update part. So I went in to go see the plastic surgeon. Oh, wait, did I say surgeon? The plastic sadist. This guy, I'm laying there. You're nervous, eh? You're laying there. This guy comes bustling in. He looks at me and he goes, I'm blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to tell you his name. Are you right-handed or left-handed? And I said, well, I'm right-handed. He said, well, that's good. And he looks at my hand. He said, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to clean it up, and then I'm going to cauterize it. And I waited for a second. I go, excuse me? He said, I'm going to clean it up. I go, yeah. And he said, then I'm going to cauterize it. And I'm thinking, like, didn't cauterization go out in the 1700s for animals? Like, and now he's going to do that to my hand? So I'm looking. I said, so what happens if we don't do this? And he told me, and I'm not going to tell you because it's kind of gross. So I thought for a second, I thought, well, okay. So he said, we're going to give you a little local freezing. Well, I've had the little local freezing. I had that in emergency. And he says to me, it'll just be a little pinch. And I'm telling, I've had a pinch. This ain't no pinch. And the guy in the emergency room, he was pretty good. He put the needles in. I mean, it hurt like heck, but he was good. This guy, this plastic sadist, I'm certain, because I don't watch, he opened up the door, put his back against the wall in the hallway, and came running at me like a linebacker with his foot-long needle to stick in my hand. 6 times. 3 times each finger. In between your fingers. Let me tell you, it's no fun. So I'm laying there and he does his thing. I'm not going to tell you about that either. And he wraps it all up. And he says, come back in 3 or 4 weeks to get the stitches out that I had in a week before. I said, it seems like a long time. I'm going to be embedded in my soul before I get it out. So then I go trundling on down to the hand therapist. Well, there's two professional medical professionals I never thought I would ever be seeing, a plastic sadist and a hand therapist. So I go down to the hand therapist. She's really good. Laura is her name. She's awesome. She looks at my hand. She made me a really spiffy splint. I'm not going to show you that right now either because my other finger looks still kind of gross. But it melts right to your, no pain, melts right to your finger so that it keeps it straight. I have to keep it straight to keep the ring finger going. And she told me, and so does the surgeon, the sadist upstairs, told me that I should get pretty much full motion and strength and all that back in my ring finger. And I likely won't lose the nail, which is encouraging because I thought I would from the emergency visit. That's what they said. That was really good. And I'm going to get some exercises and stuff to do, like to build the strength up on my index finger, what I have left of it. So she told me 2 things. She said, if you're ever going to cut off a finger, I don't recommend it. The best one to cut off is the index finger of your non-dominant hand because you can train all the other fingers to do pretty much everything that the index finger does. It's going to take some time. But my middle finger is already starting to do some things, but it messes up my arm. So anyway, it's weird. So that was really good. Then she told me, however, she said, your fingers are going to hurt for a very, very, very long time. I thought, well, you know what? You take the good with the bad. What are you going to do? So anyway, that's the update. I got to go back and see the hand therapist. I'll see her every week for quite a while just to get some stuff going on, some strength and bending and all that. So that's where that stands. So that's it, except, of course, for the bad joke of the video. So this guy, this old paper sales guy and his wife decide, he's getting old. Maybe a little visit to the plastic surgeon would spiff him up a bit. So they make an appointment, they see him, and then they go back for the day of the operation and for a little nip and tuck, as they say. And the doctor says it's going to be about an hour. The plastic surgeon said that. So the old paper sales guy goes into the operating room, and his wife's sitting there in the waiting room. And hour goes by, hour and a half, 2.5 hours, 3 hours. The plastic surgeon finally comes out and stands there and he looks at the guy's wife and he says, your husband reminds me of a toad. And she said, well, hold it a minute. He's not the best looking guy in the world, but I love him. That's one of the reasons we came here too. Give him a little nip and tuck, freshen him up a bit. The doctor looks at her and he says, madam, I think you misunderstood me. Your husband croaked on the table about 5 minutes ago. So anyway, that's my pathetically bad joke for this week. Talk to you all soon. Take care. And I hope you'll see you soon. See you.